I'm Dante, and this is Dante Dakata, and this is day 11, I believe. No, it's day 10, one of those two, of Vlogmas. And today we're going to talk about a topic that people keep wanting to talk about, and it's going to make some people unhappy, namely everyone. We're going to talk about money. Specifically, we're going to talk about the money for assistant teachers in Japan. And for those who don't know, I am a teacher in Japan, and I've been here for a little over almost 5 years now. And so I have some idea of how much money I make. But before we get into how much money I make, let's talk about the controversy about money and the things that people are going to be upset about with this video. There's an ongoing fight about what teachers are worth here, what assistant teachers are worth here, not actual Japanese teachers. And the reason why there's a fight for that is because there's a belief by the assistant language teachers that they are not paid what they are worth, or they are not paid what they should be paid, a living wage, in some cases, in some locations. And I say that people aren't going to be happy about this video because I contend that what people desire to be paid is not based on some actual number, but based on a feeling. And what do I mean by that? Under very little circumstances have I seen any data about what actual Japanese teachers make. And if we were to extrapolate the value or the cost of assistant language teacher and make that a ratio of what a Japanese teacher makes, then it would make some sense to me. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is people are basing it on what they're not being paid. So one of the leading advertisements for the biggest teaching company in Japan, Interact, for a while was that teachers would be paid somewhere in the ballpark of 3 million yen a year. And 3 million yen, I'll get my phone to translate that. What's 3 million yen in dollars? Let's give it a second. 3 million yen is $26,394. $26,000 a year. And that's before taxes. Let's divide that into 12. What's 26,394.74 by 12? I'll ask her again. What's 26,394.74 divided by 12? About $2,000. $2,198. Give or take. I probably messed up the number the second time because I couldn't see it. But that's a month before taxes, before pension, before healthcare, before housing, all of that. Is that a lot of money? No, it's not. And that was a previous posting. Now they're saying somewhere in the ballpark of 2.6 to 2.7 million dollars, or million yen a year, not dollars, yen a year. Now, I said that if it was based on Japanese pay, then we would be talking about something concrete. And the reason I say that is because I know that Japanese teachers get paid more than that. But now I'm going to compare work. Do I work? Actually, I'm a terrible example, and I'll explain that in a second too. Does the regular ALT work as much as, let's just compare it to a first-year Japanese teacher of English? The answer is absolutely not. There's no comparison to the amount of work a Japanese teacher of English does and an assistant language teacher does in a junior high school level. Let's just stop it there, at a junior high school level, because that's what I know. They work longer hours. They're responsible for more. They have more training. They have more, or they have certifications. There's just a number of different duties and details that go into what they do that the lay teacher, the layman, just doesn't have to do. That just isn't responsible for. That just doesn't know. So, does the pay reflect that? And that's the only question that I have for people is that. Does the pay reflect that? My belief is that you are paid for what you are responsible for. So I do not believe a lot of teachers are responsible for a lot, so they don't get paid for that. Now, it would seem that I'm an enemy among, or I'm a snake in the grass because I'm an ALT and, don't I want more money? Everybody wants more money. Like it's a ridiculous notion to think that I don't want more money. Everyone wants more money. Now, I hate money. However, I understand the necessity for it to live a certain lifestyle. Now, I don't confuse my desire for more and my value. Now, that being said, I don't believe that my value is reflected in my pay. Because I know what I do every day. I know how I go above and beyond. I know all that jazz. And that's not to brag. That's just saying that if you read the base details, the base responsibilities, the base requirements for an assistant language teacher, and then I compare that to what I do on a Tuesday, and I do more on a Tuesday than that list could ever say. However, if we're using the average, if we're using the average responsibility, the average duties, and things like that, then do I get paid what I should get paid? My question is, what does the teacher standing next to me get paid? Because it would be a ratio of that. Now, let's talk about why the pay isn't going up. There's a number of reasons why the pay isn't going up. But simply put, economics. There is a high demand for these jobs. Excuse me. There's a high demand for these jobs. And normally with a high demand, you would assume that that you could demand more pay. Well, that would be the case if the supply wasn't so high as well. The supply far outweighs the demand. So there are tons of people who want to teach in Japan, probably people who are watching this video. And because the supply of people who want to teach here is so high, there is nothing to force the employers to raise the pay. Why? Because there's no such thing as scarcity. There's always another teacher ready to step up. Now, if there was some kind of scarcity, let's say coronavirus caused actual scarcity for a long period of time, and people leveraged that power by striking and things like that, then perhaps we could be talking about pay getting raised or some kind of negotiation in that way. But no, that's not happening because coronavirus is eventually going to go away and there's going to be an influx of teachers and the pay will precipitously fall if it got raised in this time. It did not happen. So let's get that away now. The pay didn't go up. Now, there's more that goes into benefits than pay, but I'm sticking with just pay. So if you want to talk about the full benefits package, we can talk about it in another video. But to go further with this whole pay conversation, so we have the supply and demand and scarcity. So that's one reason. Another reason is there's no law governing ALTs. Now, you would think that because many of them work in public schools, there would be some law that governs them. There is a basic labor law that governs work. There's some basic framework about how teachers can be utilized, how assistant language teachers can be utilized. But it is designed that there is no governance over how the assistant language teacher position is addressed within the education system, so that each board of education is free to do as they see fit or pay as they desire or can, really, especially in your rural areas, so they're not having to be constrained to something that they probably financially just can't do. So, with the lack of responsibility being on the government and everything being on the private sector, the corporations going to do whatever suits their bottom line. And this is an uncomfortable truth that is true everywhere in the world, but you answer to your shareholders first, unfortunately. And so long as the people meet the contractual needs of the boards of education and the corporations are meeting their shareholders' expectations, like, no one really cares about the pay. The teachers do, but nobody else. The Board of Education isn't clamoring for English teachers to get paid more, and corporations isn't excited and lining up to pay English teachers more. Why? Because if it isn't broke, don't fix it for them. For the Board of Education, the same thing. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. Now, you can see there being cracks in the system in places like Hokkaido, where you see articles coming out about the pay. You have unions striking. You have all that kind of thing going on. But it's not causing the full-scale shutdown that you would need to actually leverage power. Now, I know you're thinking, well, Dante, why aren't you joining in with that? And why aren't you participating in the structural breakdown of the scale or of the system? Quite simply put, where is the information about what you actually want and what is it based on? Like, I can't ask for something that I don't believe in. And I watch and I see teachers that do virtually nothing. Do I believe those teachers should get paid more? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then I see teachers who are certified. There are teachers from the Philippines that are more certified to teach English than JTEs that are standing next to them. I mean, they have master's degrees, but they're not paid the same as those Japanese teachers of English. And I think they deserve to get paid more. But if they're in the same position as people who don't get paid, like who get paid trash, basically, like, and I say, oh, well, everyone needs to get paid more, I don't think that should be the case. I've always been kind of the frame of mind that, like, of a meritocracy, and maybe this is because I've come from a government and military background. We have pay scales. Like, we have pay scales based on both rank and years of service. And I know everything can't be comparable to the military, but it just makes sense to me that experience and responsibility should dictate what you get paid, not your desire. Like, even if we're talking about what you can negotiate, which I'm big on negotiating, like, you get what you can negotiate, which I always negotiate, because I just believe that you're going to pay me what I believe I deserve, or we're going to try to get to the closest number possible. But I just don't think every teacher deserves this highfalutin pay. Now, that sounds awful. It is, but it's true. And I contend, and I will debate anybody about, like, what someone deserves to be paid. Right? Because if we're talking about individually, you take on more responsibility, then yeah, you deserve it. But don't say an entire industry deserves something when there's no standards that govern the entire industry. There's not. Now, there's a comparison to Jet, and Jet does get paid more than the layman ALT. And that's cool. They are government, and they are a government entity. There's a set guideline requirement. There's a set system. They have a pay scale. They have a responsibility listing. There's a number of things that goes into why they are paid the way they are. Now, that being said, their training system is probably less than, let's say, Interac. Interac's training system is pretty good. Like, for all the knocks that people, you can YouTube and search the bad things people have to say about Interac. I can say for my branch in particular, our training system is top notch. Like, they're always trying to prepare people for other jobs or jobs other than just teaching in Japan. So I mean, like when we're talking about like comparing Jet to Interact, they're they get paid more, we get trained more. There's another things we can do. I don't want to jump off on that, but they get paid more and they get paid raises for every year. And I'm not a big Jet guy. I don't know much about Jet. I know enough to be dangerous. Is an old phrase. So, you know, that's one comparison we can make. But until we have the same kind of regulations that they have, like you can't demand what they demand. The requirements, the hoops they got to jump through is just more. Like any person with a bachelor's degree in anything can teach in Japan so long as they're not a psychopath, and they can pass the interview. Like, does that seem like the kind of speciality that requires like that demands a high pay? To me, it doesn't. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't believe that can change. And I certainly advocate for the government to actually regulate teaching here. I would love it. Like, that would be fantastic because then it wouldn't be just the wild, wild west as far as corporate control over an educational industry. It would be the government dictating the terms of the teacher's education or the teacher certification, and then the corporations finding people that fit within that framework, which will make life a little bit harder for the corporations, but then we would actually have people that are certified to teach, and we would have people who would be paid more. It's a win-win for the kids and for the teachers. I went on longer than I thought I would for one of these Vlogmas videos, but I thought that it would be good to talk about the pay topic. And you've noticed that I have not talked about what I got paid. We will save that for another video where I talk about the entire payment and benefits package and why my life situation is a little bit different, even though I'm paid about the same from my Japanese company. Yeah, that's a whole other story for another day. If you want to talk about the pay, if you have some complaint or you want some more information about this, then I'm more than happy to talk about it below in the comment section. I know this isn't going to be a popular video, but it just needs to be said. Like, I think in one of the Riddick movies, he said, you keep what you kill. And, you know, I think the Joker said, you get what you deserve. But for me, like, I just believe that, like, nothing is fair when corporations are in control of a system, and the only fair there is cab fare. And other than that, man, you're just trying to get what you can while you can, and we can chat more about that below. Oh man, this is gonna suck. All right. There's stories everywhere, and I'm happy you're a part of mine, even if you're not happy about this story. I'm Dante. This is Dante Dakada. Until next time. Later.